I used to think that I was a bit of a Luddite, but it seems I'm a bit of a whiz online now. Don't get me wrong, I find it frustrating remembering passwords and stuff, but I do all my banking via a phone app now, and I FaceTime our Lisa every Sunday night, and I can even access my medical records online as well now. Somebody at work was really surprised when I told them, and they said, "Can you do that?" I said, "Well, yeah, they are my records." And it's been really useful because recently I went to see my GP about my skin, and I couldn't remember what she said she thought it was. So I checked it online, and it was written down, and it said seborrheic dermatitis, and I've got this wash and cream for it. But I can also order repeat prescriptions, and I can book appointments online as well. And I can send a message as well to say what the appointment's about. I feel much more comfortable doing that because I don't like explaining things on the phone. I know that the practice voicemail message with Dr. Gordon's dulcet tones explains why reception staff need to ask, but since I found this out, it's much easier to track a message online than it is with bits of paper. Plus, you never know who's listening in, and I've heard some very interesting snippets when I've been sat in that waiting room. So I've not only made sure that me and Steve have it, but also that his dad and my parents too. Now, Steve's dad, he lives in Leeds, and he was admitted to Jimmy's last year for a chest infection. And the staff there, they could check his records too. And I was there when they asked him, and he said, "Well, what helps you helps me." So I thought that was what happened everywhere, but apparently not. You see, Mum was admitted to A&E last week because she had a fall. And I got there just as the x-ray were confirming that she'd fractured a hip. And they were talking about getting her ready for an operation. But Mum couldn't remember what tablets she was on. So I said, "Oh, it's okay, you can just look it up on a GP record." The young doctor looked at me like I were from outer space. But then the nurse she said, "Oh, we'll probably be able to check it on the MIG." I said, "Well, what's that?" She said, "Oh, it's some IT system that links things up." Anyway, off went the doctor, and she was ages, but when she came back, she said it wouldn't work, and she had to phone the practice. I bet they were best pleased about that. Anyway, I asked her, and I said, "Why doesn't it work?" She said, "Oh, the people at the practice had said that Mum hadn't explicitly consented for this to happen." I said, "Well, she's here now, so surely that counts, and she's saying it's okay." Anyway, she just shrugged her shoulders and said she was sorry, and, well, at least they had the list of medications for her now. Fortunately, everything went okay, but as I'm at the same practice, I decided to sort this out. So the next day, I rang the practice, and they got the practice manager to ring me back, and we did this bit of dancing around handbags. But she was insisting that Mum had to explicitly consent for this to happen. So I said, "Well, why can't it be like it is in Leeds?" I was all for fighting for this, but Steve just said, "No, come on, let's just leave it and sort out our consent. We can't be crusading to save the world." So I just let it drop. I was too busy planning for Mum to come out of hospital, but I did keep mulling on it. Yesterday, I was at Steve's dad's, and he asked me to give his practice a ring about his repeat prescription. So I thought, right, while I'm on the phone, I'm going to ask them what their system is that they use. Now, the receptionist said to me, it sounds like they haven't got their system set up for implied consent. So I said, "Well, what does that mean?" He said, "Oh, it's a default setting, which means that the records are shared with other parts of the health system, unless the patient explicitly consents for this not to happen." And that's the system that they're using at their practice. I think my practice needs to get their act together.